Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Third Eye with Lorelei. Thank you so much for being here. How are all of you? I hope all of you are really, really great right now. However you're coming today, I hope that all is well. And I'm so happy that you're here for another episode about, honestly, something that I have always had trouble really talking about because I've always felt very shy and nervous about that sort of thing, about talking about physical intimacy, about talking about spiritual intimacy. So today is a new day, friends. Today I'm going to be talking about that, and it is going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully you guys are all here for it, like all the way in, just like me, as I drink my tea. Anyway, let's begin first though with the crystal, because I had initially had an idea. Let me rewind. I had bought a brand new crystal, and I thought it was new, and I had that crystal already, and I'd already talked about it with you guys. And so I was super excited to receive it. Actually, it's right here. I just received this, and I didn't realize I'd already have this. So this is the Black Hills Tourmaline, and it has like these really beautiful blue inclusions in it. And I was so excited to receive this. Super, super beautiful, high vibrational stone. And I'd already talked about it with you guys. So then I was like, oh, well, I guess I got to find another one to talk about today. And then I thought, oh, let's talk about fire opal. But, I already talked about opal. And I don't really know if fire opal is incredibly different. But either way, I found another one, and I think it is very appropriate for the topic today. So I went to crystalcouncil.com, and I found Eclogite. And Eclogite, so we'll talk about the science and the origin of it. So it is a mafic, or a high iron and magnesium silicate. It's a metamorphic rock consisting of pink or red, garnet, and amphicite. So amphicite is a sodium-rich mineral and member of the pyroxene crystal family. Its color can be just about any shade of green, and it is a matrix for which the garnet is formed. So other notable minerals can sometimes also be found within this crystal, such as jade, quartz, kyanite, zoisite, rutile, dolomite, ruby, and sapphire. So Eclogite is unique as it's been formed under extreme heat and pressure. It only occurs on Earth's lower crust and upper mantle, so usually between 18 and 28 miles down, and under temperatures that exceeds 1200 to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Eclogite has only a few known localities in the world, making this an incredibly rare and valuable stone. Norway has an abundance of this mineral, but China, Germany, Austria, and the United States also have Eclogite with different sub-minerals in it. The oldest locality that this mineral is found is in Brazil and Mali, with these deposits estimating at over 650 million years old. So that's an old crystal. Okay, so the meaning and energy. So let's get to the fun part, right? Eclogite activates our lower 4 chakras and strengthens the connection we have to Mother Earth. One's personal will can become unlocked and then linked directly to our heart space. Once established, this channel is here to highlight your deepest desires and take action to make them a reality. Usually, the truest form of happiness is already within us, just waiting to be unleashed. Eclogite helps raise one's awareness to become mindful to the truth within. Once acknowledged, one can set the intention directly into the stone and begin to tap into the energies that it projects. Become attuned to Eclogite's energies by continuously meditating with your weighted stone, and let your consciousness begin to find pathways to your dreams. As one allows their inner strength to break through, your focus, drive, and confidence levels should all spike as well. As you become comfortable with the stone, it will be easier to channel your intentions directly into your personal will. As you progress in your personal journey or your spiritual journey with Eclogite, one will find numerous opportunities awaiting you. Continue manifesting and creating a vision for you to follow and allow Eclogite to push you into action. The only limitation we could face are ones from which we create. Eclogite will break these habits and make you focus on the development of one's true character. So in layman's terms, it's going to help you get out of your own way in a way that is very, not necessarily aggressive, but it is very honest. So if you are finding that you're getting in your own way of the way you create your own reality, Eclogite will be a really good motivator to help you to realize, first of all, where that comes from and how you can finally pivot and recover from maybe why you got stuck in front of yourself to really forging ahead. So crystal pairings. We, being the Crystal Council, recommend meditating with Eclogite in combination with other minerals that similarly suit your desired intention. For example, if you are looking to open your heart and release emotional strain, try tapping into the energies of rose quartz, rhodonite, kunzite, rhodochrosite, or pink opal. If you're looking for assistance with manifestation, try accessing the vibrations of pyrite, wolfenite, vanadinite, tiger's eye, or citrine. Lastly, to build a stronger connection with Mother Nature, attune your energies to green calcite, petrified wood, prehnite, and serpentine. All these minerals in combination with Eclogite will have a drastic impact on one's life path and spiritual growth. Find the stone that best connects with your energy and allow it to become another tool that helps you evolve. So that is Eclogite, everyone. So I'm really interested in buying some of this just because, first of all, it's a beautiful stone. There's lots of like deep red in it along with green, but it's not like the same as bloodstone, because bloodstone you see like a real stark red, like red jasper. This red looks like garnet, obviously, because it has garnet in it. And it's almost like an emerald and a garnet mixture. It's very, very pretty. And it's like red and purple and green, and it's really gorgeous. So some of the other things that are interested about Eclogite is it helps with manifestation. It also helps with spirituality and sexuality and discovering how you can find physical healing and passion and new beginnings in that way. It also helps with decisiveness and creativity. Planets that it associate with is Earth, obviously. And then the zodiac sign that is well suited to this stone is Scorpio. And obviously the element is Earth. So it comes in green and red. Hardness from 0 to 10 is usually between a 3.5 and a 4. And please don't ask me the chemical formula because that is a lot. It's a lot. I noticed magnesium, calcite, iron, and magnesium. We're just going to pass it on because that's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway. Also, this is being video recorded. So if you're listening to this, go to my YouTube and you can see it. You can see my face. You can see my office behind me. And you can see my teacup. Aren't you interested in my teacup? You know you're interested in my teacup. Anyway, let's talk about the quote of the week. So this is by Eckhart Tolle. Is it Tolle or Toll? It might be Toll. I might be saying it wrong. It's not new for me, right? Anyway, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but the thought about it. Be aware of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral. It is as it is. Oh, I love Eckhart Tolle. Hopefully that's good. I've actually read the manual on my microphone because I was finding that the sound was always a little weird and off. And it said that I actually should be kind of far away from it. And I'm always like right up on my microphone. Like that's not how you're supposed to do it. But you know, apparently I want to make out with my microphone. Not supposed to do that, apparently. So anyway, let's talk about intimacy. Let's talk about sexuality. let's talk about how we engage with spiritual intimacy. Now, this isn't just all about sex with another person. Now, granted, that is a huge part of what I'm going to talk about today. But there is an intimacy that needs to be discovered within ourselves, and how we balance the feminine and masculine aspects of ourselves so that we can achieve that physical intimacy or orgasm in a way that is embracing connection, compassion, love, tenderness, and finding the balance between those two energies so that we can experience that. It's not really a gratification, but more of the act of creating energy that is extremely powerful. A lot of people are drawn towards Kundalini. However, that type of energy creation is immensely powerful, and it shifts everything on a fundamental level when you actually get to that point. And, it really can make everything completely different for you, because it is literally, what is the word I'm looking for? It is a powerful proclamation to the universe that you are now, laying down your ability to control, and you're accepting all that is meant for you as a spiritual being, in all the lessons that are meant to be understood. And sometimes all of that hits you all at once, and it can be a blissful experience in addition at the same time to something that is re-seeing and understanding pain that you haven't really embraced or haven't really moved through. It is all the emotional baggage or things that we have compartmentalized that gets felt all at once. It is really the idea around intimacy and around sexuality. It is a powerful feminine energetic being realized, because the feminine is about emotion and the ability to feel. And whereas the masculine is more about that action and that doing energy. So when we come into the Kundalini, when we come into intimacy and experiencing sexuality in a way that is connective and that is meaningful, we realize that feminine energetic. So let's dial it back a little bit, because I had a class that I was teaching. Actually, if any of you are interested in I have these free classes that I teach on my website. And if you want to be a part of that, it's all over Zoom. So if you are in, a different area of the country or the world, and you're like, yeah, I want to understand some of the basic fundamentals of spirituality. I want to learn about my chakras. I want to learn how to meditate. I want to learn more about being spiritually minded and growing and talking about all these, amazing things that are on the other side of the spectrum of science and really discovering who we are as feeling energetic beings. This is a really great class that I teach, talking all about that. So that's usually once a month. I have another one coming up in May, and you should be able to sign up on my website, and you just RSVP so I know who's going to be there. And then the other one that I'm getting to is a goddess gathering, which is all about divine femininity, about discovering that sacred feminine or divine feminine, and what that energy is and how it feels in our body, and how to awaken it so that we understand who we are as emotional beings and how we connect on a deeper level, and discovering those shadow aspects of ourselves that really we deny pretty consistently in order to act and do in our life. So through the process of discovering who we are as these emotional beings, we then give light, and we're able to appreciate and bow to our divine feminine in a way that is respectful and loving and honoring. So that class, the Goddess Gathering, is usually the last Tuesday of every month, but it kind of shifts. Look on the website, RSVP to a Goddess Gathering if that's something that's interesting to you. So back to what I was talking about. I was teaching the Goddess Gathering. And we were talking about the temple. And whenever we think of churches and temples, we think, obviously, this is a place of worship, right? And the temple, to me, in this whole, symbol that I'm creating, this whole story, this idea in my mind, the temple is our bodies. And how do we find ourselves coming to worship? How do we find ourselves coming to our own temple and to our own church, if you will? Do we arrive to ourselves and out of obligation or out of duty, or is there compassion and love there? And how do we honor that temple? How do we honor this place that houses a very sacred being? How do we honor this one body that we have chosen in a way that is going to allow us to experience our meaningful life in a way that is loving and compassionate and more fulfilling? How do we honor our temple? How we honor our temple will be a direct reflection of how we are available to honor the temple of our partners. And, we're meant to have as many partners as we see fit in our life, right? So you can have one partner, you can have many partners. It is what it is meant to be for you in your life, and how you experience love and connection and vulnerability with other spiritual beings, with other people in your life. So how we honor this temple, this church that embodies our soul and spirit, is a direct reflection of how we're available to honor other people. So how do you arrive to yourself for intimacy? How do you talk to yourself? How do you look at yourself? How do you honor your body? How do you adorn your body? It is very important. And a lot of us are like, I don't do any of that really. I mean, I'll go and exercise and, sometimes I'll be proud of myself for eating a salad, and then everything else is just sort of like, okay, well, I had 18 cups of coffee and a glass of water and a prayer. That's all I have today. And I get it. I've been there so many times, because life it throws a lot at you, and you'd find that the thing that does not get at the forefront of living your life is how I nourish this temple, how I adorn this temple. And that is unique for every individual, and you need specific things. You need to eat a certain way, you need to drink a certain way, you need to do it at certain times, you need to eat this much, and you need to exercise this much, you need to sleep this much. All those things are incredibly important for you as that unique individual to understand, so that you can arrive for your partner in a way that is equally matched. And that's also a thing. If you're not taking care of yourself, you are projecting that energy out into the world to somebody who is probably doing the same thing. And you want growth. You want to evolve and become more inclined and connected to this source energy. And you want to find somebody who holds that space with you in a way that is supportive. And when you're in a relationship with somebody who you constantly feel drained and everything, obviously there needs to be some boundaries that are placed there, but also you have to take a hard look at how you arrive to the care and the adornment of your own temple. So that's really important. The yin, female, or the feeling energy body is the temple. And that is true for within yourself. So if you are a man, if you are a man listening to this, we all have that balance. We have the female, the yin and the yang energetic. So this is your emotions, your feeling energy, versus the yang masculine, or the acting energy, the doing energy, is the part of us that is invited to worship. So there is the temple, and then there is the worshipers. The feminine energy is that temple, and the masculine energy comes to worship. But it is only through the invitation with that expressive consent. And so we have to arrive at our emotions without this idea of control, this idea of overpowering. It needs to arrive with vulnerability, with the laying down of strength, and say, I'm ready to understand how I emote, how I understand who I am as an intimate being, without trying to overpower it. And this is within yourself, okay? I hope I'm not, there might be a little bit of a trigger warning with some of what I'm saying right now, especially if you've experienced any type of any violence in that way. So understand that the feminine energy needs that laying down of strength in order to accept the emotions and the being energy that occurs when you arrive in the temple as that masculine energy. The masculine energy needs to bow to the feminine energy in order to understand how you worship, how you arrive at your own temple and lay down that doing energy to accept in the being, the emotion, the feeling energy, so that you can finally become that whole being. So this is, so our balance of the feminine, the masculine, or yin and yang must be in balance for true connective intimacy. We do not conquer or manipulate over one of our energies, but share and connect with courageous vulnerability. So in the same light, the feminine is not to manipulate the masculine to lay down the strength, and the masculine does not overpower in order to achieve the gratification of being in the temple. So this is not only the internal process, however, it is only this understanding that we can truly arrive for true physical intimacy when our spiritual and energetic bodies are in balance. We learn how to worship the higher power within ourselves, and then share with another higher power within another. We learn to honor the light through the act of physical intimacy. So it's important for us to understand that physical intimacy is literally the act of that creation, of an understanding of, when we are within balance and within ourselves, and we want to share that intimacy with another person and honor them at their temple and celebrate that light, we're able to then achieve that higher energy, that sharing and that creation energy. Man, somebody keeps messaging me left and right on my iPhone. Anyway, so that intimacy that we create within ourselves, we are then able to share with another person in a more meaningful way, and that creation type energy. So we see God in ourselves in two events in life: in sexual intimacy and in death. Through death, our souls and spirit vacate the physical body, and then we return to our source energy, the cosmic connective force, the collective energy network that is all around us and in us. We understand this connection when we vacate the body and feel that relief and bliss. We also experience this through the act of orgasm. So in French, the orgasm is sometimes referred to as le petit mort, or the little death. And I find that there is absolute brilliance in that. And we truly experience the bliss of that source energy when we create a powerful energy within ourselves. With physical intimacy, we discover through the act of connecting with love, respect, tenderness, and honor, we then experience God. It is that old saying of making love, correct? No wonder it becomes an addiction for some. So the feminine energy is the temple, and the masculine enters the place of worship to experience that bliss together. It is in that entry of the darkness and the womb space that both male and female can experience source energy. This is why it's important to understand your feminine energy, how you feel, how you emote. Its true, loving physical intimacy cannot be fully understood if you aren't entering your feminine energy with the honor and respect she deserves to gain access to the kingdom of heaven. Her gates hold the bliss of heaven, and you can be the keys to those gates when you have the courage to lay down your strength at her doorstep and allow her to make a choice. And this is extremely important. This isn't just about, the male, female physical bodies, although it holds true for that space. But within you, you have to lay down that doing energy and allow yourself to be vulnerable to enter that feminine space and say, I surrender and I want to experience the emotions that maybe I've kept away for too long. Those that do not allow themselves to show respect will only find the physical gratification and no real connection. There's no real Kundalini energy in one-sided physical intimacy. This is why it's so important for the feminine to be honored and respected at her gates through the act of yielding masculine strength, and for the masculine to be honored through the act of acceptance and without manipulation. They are to hold a space of safety for one another so that they can both experience the little death as one. It's also important for you to know your boundaries as you discover how to be in balance with your polar energies. Holding those boundaries should not trigger an intimate partner. It shouldn't trigger an intimate partner. If this is the case, they aren't ready to worship with you. Most likely, they do not understand how to honor themselves in a meaningful way. And no one wants the shallow emptiness of disconnected intimacy or sex. So, with that being said, what is it in you that you haven't felt and that you need to feel? And a lot of you are like, nope, too big. It's too big. And that's fine. You're not ready, and that's understandable. But don't expect for you to achieve that type of Kundalini spiritual intimacy, that little death, in order for you to experience the full energy that is source, if you cannot allow yourself to yield to the emotions that are necessary for you to have that moment, for you to experience the full-fledged light and source energy of God through the act of sex, through the act of orgasm. And a lot of times people don't yield to the feminine energy. They just want the act. They just want to act because that's the only way that they're going to have that gratification. But it is shallow. It won't yield the result that you are desiring, which is that ability to experience love and tenderness and honor within ourselves and within another. And if you can't have that for yourself with your feminine and masculine polar energies, you will have a hard time finding that type of intimacy in another because you can't hold it for yourself. So when we experience sex with another person, how do we genuinely connect with them? Are we connecting with them? Are we setting that intention? Maybe there is some serious work that needs to be done in order to really achieve that. If we're arriving to ourselves with just that gratification and not with that honor and respect and tenderness and connection and unconditional love that is necessary, then that connection with others will not become deep, not the way that we need it to be in order to grow and evolve as spiritual beings. And I imagine if you're listening to this and this is something that interests you, this may stir up some things for you that are hard to think of, that are hard to really process, and that's okay. Spiritual awakening and intimacy is not an easy process to undergo, and it's not meant to be easy. Nothing in your spiritual journey is meant to be easy, because then it wouldn't really be worth it. Truly, something that you create, your reality that you create, needs to be something that you are immensely proud of and that you hold a space of love and honor towards. And if it's so simple, then it sometimes isn't, there isn't a whole lot of retention with that. You're not going to continue forward with that if it's something that's just simple. And I know a lot of us just want that. We just want something simple, but it's never going to be simple. Intimacy is not meant to be simple. It's meant to be complex. It's meant to be a challenge. And your own intimacy between your polar energies are not meant to be an easy force to find and balance. So the thing that I am doing for myself is I find how if I am doing too much, things begin to slip. And so I've recently found, as I had been saying in my last couple of podcasts, because I really had to step away because I was fully in that acting and doing energy, and I forgot where I was emotionally and how I felt, because I was doing everything for everyone else and slowly, completely have turned my back on who I am and what I need. And so it was in that process where I realized that I was completely exhausted and I was slipping, things were beginning to slip from my mind that were important. And I was beginning to not be able to arrive for other people, that I decided that I needed to completely step away from that active energy and finally arrive at that temple and bow to that feminine energy and say, I submit, which a lot of people have a hard time saying that. I surrender, I submit to you, to this feminine energy that wants you to feel. And man, that was a hard couple of months. It's a lot of crying. It's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth, if you will. Which, if it's gotta happen, it's gotta happen. It's just going to continue to be carried around until it is understood. And when will you finally arrive and allow yourself the courageous vulnerability to feel? And when we do that, we can then experience le petit mort within ourselves, that little death, and then we can share with other people more meaningfully, because then we can honor and respect ourselves and love ourselves. And then we can have that with others in a way that's really beautiful. And that can be in like physical sex, or that can be in just intimacy with other people. Whether it is spending time or having that space with other people. However it looks for you. Discover and explore how it is that you need to be intimate with yourself, and how your emotions are equally as important as your actions. Your feeling and your actions need to be understood in tandem in order for you to experience true spiritual intimacy and intimacy with others. Okay, I think that's it, you guys. I think that's it. I hope that it was meaningful. I hope you enjoyed all the things that I talked about. I wrote all those notes down and I was like, okay, here we go. Decided I needed to write down notes instead of just allowing them to just come to my brain as I go, because I tend to get all over the place. So my Virgo mind was having a conniption fit. So, I needed bulletin points. I needed some direction. So anyway, I really love you guys. Thank you again for being here again. And if you love this episode, be sure to share it, and be sure to come back next month for another episode. So it's usually the last Saturday of every month. So this one will be May something or other. Hold please while I look at my calendar, because I don't have that memorized. So May 27th. So make sure you come back for more amazing topics that come out of my brain and crystals and things. And if you're interested in one of my free classes, be sure to check out www.3rdeyewithlorelei, third eye with Lorelei.com, and go under the classes section and RSVP for one of the classes and join me. And if you just want to check out this episode on video, you can look under my YouTube, which is the same thing, Third Eye with Lorelei on YouTube, or you can look at my website and find it. So thank you again so much for being here. I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your month, a fantastic rest of your day. And I will talk at you guys again very soon. But until then, love and light to you all.